Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my channel, for Christ's sake. It's been a month. Where have the videos been? Where's the speculation been? Where's the tinfoil hat been? Well, truthfully, I just ran out of tinfoil. I think that's the issue. But really, you guys, I just have been a little disconnected from the game lately. Wanted to take a little break. It's been busy in my personal life, but here we are. We're back today, and that is what matters. I want to start this video by saying thank you to those of you that have stayed subscribed during my hiatus. We lost some people, but that's okay. I appreciate those of you that stuck around, especially a big thank you to my patrons. You guys are amazing. This video is being recorded live over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pyromancer. If you guys want to go ahead and follow me over there, you may find me recording other videos and editing other videos live on stream, just like this one. You'll get a sneak peek into how videos come together and how this is actually all orchestrated. Without further ado, today we're going to be talking about a topic that I haven't really spoken about at all. Like, I've made little tiny mentions about them here or there, but haven't dedicated a full video, and that is, of course, to the brokers. The brokers are some of the sketchiest, most enigmatic characters and beings that we've actually seen in the Shadowlands thus far, and they're fucking everywhere. So we need to talk about that today. The brokers. What are they? Where do they come from? Great questions. Things that haven't exactly been revealed to us yet. What are they doing? Something that we can gain a little bit of insight to based on some of the quotes that you can get while moving around Oribos especially. Who are they involved with? Well, we've seen them in numerous places, so we'll kind of touch on all that today. First of all, I'm going to address some of the interesting ideas that are kind of floating around out there. One of which is that the brokers are descendants of, or those who actually came from Koresh. If you guys aren't familiar, Koresh was a world upon which the Ethereals, as we know them now, formerly the Koreshi, lived. And they were an incredibly advanced civilization. And in order to technologically advance their civilization, they used magics to draw open a portal, which brought in a horrific creature known as Dementius. And he was a Void Lord that basically slowly tore their world apart. However, it's also important to know that from this volatile use of magic, they had torn open these portals, and arcane magics had just blasted their world. Completely fucked their world. However, they had built shields to protect them from, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some of these energies. However, I believe it was from the shadow energy, and the arcane energy actually shattered their mortal forms and left them as they are today. Now, that's important to recognize because the brokers seem to be heavily invested in the use of arcane magics, spatial manipulation, and things of similar use. But it's also important to realize that the Koreshi themselves, they did that on purpose. This wasn't something that they accidentally did. They performed this magical incantation, this ritual, to allow for this to happen. They were trying to advance their civilization. And again, Chronicle states pretty specifically that Dementius tore their world apart slowly. This is not something that happened so instantaneously that they were just unable to do anything. They had plenty of time to do something about this, but it seems like a lot of them just kind of went along with it. Probably because it turned them into immortals. That's kind of important to recognize, right? Like, they're bristling arcane energy. They don't even have to abide by the rules of mortality because they don't have mortal bodies, the same way that the brokers don't. So that's a very interesting take on that. I could see how the brokers could be a sect of the Ethereals, of the Koreshi. They could be those who were most invested in what the Koreshi had done. One of the other big things between the Ethereals and the brokers that has to be recognized is that they're very transactional. Like, they don't really care that much about you. They care about what they can gain from you. And they're both like that. They're both very, very like this for that type of quid pro quo attitude that they have. And that's very evident in dealing with the Ethereals, because the Ethereals are essentially like, they're kind of like, not the term like brokers as a way to identify this sect of people, but they are like, they're brokers as in like, they're traders. So That's a very interesting thing that people have said, is that they could very well be tied to and related to one another. And I think that is a very plausible explanation. However, let's get into where they can be found, who they're involved with, and maybe what these brokers are doing. So the thing that's most important to recognize is, where is the densest location? Where's the densest population of brokers? It's in Oribos, which is like the central hub, the focal point, the most important bastion, no pun intended there, I suppose, of the Shadowlands. And they are all over it. And they're completely manipulating the attendants that are here. They're just completely manipulating them. The brokers do not believe in the purpose. They think that it's complete bullshit. They're just entertaining the attendants because it suits them in the long run. How did the brokers get here? I have no idea. How did the attendants just go, yeah, there's a lot of these guys, it's probably fine? Actually, I know the answer to that one. It's because the attendants of Oribos are literal, like, sycophant, loyalist, blind guys who basically just follow this thing called the purpose. And even if something goes horrifically and terribly wrong, it must just be part of the purpose. It's just the purpose, so it's okay. Like, talk about living in a fucking tunnel. So that's what these guys are. So it doesn't seem far-fetched to me that when these brokers came here, they quickly identified how important the purpose is to these attendants and were like, yeah, we're here on behalf of the purpose. And all the attendants were like, all right. Like, they had zero questions about it. They didn't really care. Now, I will say that there are some of the attendants who find the brokers quite tiresome because they are constantly inquiring and learning. And if you pay attention to Oribos, you'll find these guys walking around. Like, for instance, we're here in Oribos and we have an information trader. That's literally, this guy's job. That's all he does, is this guy of Cartel Zoe goes around and just trades and gains information. This guy's just walking around learning everything that he possibly can. Like, this just, I guess the reason I find this so humorous is because this guy, or girl, or I don't even know if they identify in that capacity, but they just go around and trade and gain little information to benefit their own ends. In every single hall, in the Hall of Holding, in the Hall of Shapes, the Enclave, the Hall of Curiosities, the Idalia, all of these areas have brokers in them. You go down to the lower reaches of the Oribos area, and they're down there too, doing whatever they want. And as you journey and venture around this area, you get to some really interesting quotes from them that we're certainly going to have to touch on. But before that, we have to look at some of the other places where brokers have been found. For instance, Dealer Zyxa in the other side. She is a cunning acquisitionist. So they're he and she, I guess. Wielding an array of magical contrivances that she has collected over the millennia. She relies on spatial manipulation, which is, in my opinion, part of arcane magic, or maybe even greater than arcane magic specifically, to stay one step ahead of the innumerable enemies she's made in her dealings. So she's a dealer, she's a broker, using arcane technology to create portals and magical explosions that damage and displace her enemies. Since she considers her cunning unrivaled, there's no way her magic could be used against her. Well, ironically, but of course, then in the actual situation, we do use it against her. With that being said, she drops something called an inscrutable quantum device, which is not only one of the most powerful trinkets for many classes in the game right now, but it's a quantum device, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, which is heavily based around time and space. That's like literally all that quantum is. I believe it's not in Sanguine Depths, but it's in the raid, where we also fight Artificer Zymox. Not everyone in Castle Nathria is loyal to Sire Nathria. Some simply saw an opportunity and exploited it to their own ends. Artificer Zymox has worked with Nathrius, but is mostly concerned with getting the better end of the deal, which may require the end of Nathria's invaders. Zymox creates wormholes players can travel between and removes Sire Nathrius' relics from their display cases, unleashing their powers on players. And he is not at all worried about letting us know that he is excited to use these relics. Now, I'm not sure about the one from the dungeon. I don't recall if Zyxa dies or not. However, I know that this guy does not. Artificer Zymox certainly does not die. He absolutely teleports away. He's got quite a cool Nathrian-based garb. So they're involved not only in Castle Nathria, they're involved in, they're messing around in the other side, presumably because Dealer Zayaxa had made some type of deal with Bonsamdi, which is very interesting. I didn't know that would be a thing. But that's what's going on there. We also find them all over the place, in areas like right around the Theater of Pain. While we don't fight when in the Theater of Pain, they're stationed right outside the Theater of Pain. They're also in areas of Revendreth, like the southern area where the new black market auction house exists, where they're capturing and trading and doing all of these just weird things. They're just studying, they're just learning. So on the point of that, let's look at some of the quests and things that pertain to the brokers. And one of which, very important, of course, in the Maw we'll talk about. So when we go here, this is one of the weekly quests from Talan the Antiquary. So basically, they task you to go out and find this artifact in, I believe this is from one of the, I think it's Sanguine Depths or something like that. So, Talan the Antiquary, ancient broker headpiece. This is the item that you go and retrieve. The headpiece of a broker of unknown origin. It looks significantly different than the brokers you've met in Oribos. And I don't know if the icon that's being used is supposed to perfectly represent what the item is actually supposed to look like. But essentially, it's an ancient broker headpiece. Now, when you turn it into this guy says, "This is not what I expected. It is similar in appearance to our people, yet so very different. Are there others of our kind out there? Who are they, and where do they reside? Why have they not made contact with us? Or are they hiding themselves purposefully? Is this a history we knew, but have forgotten? I have so many questions. I thank you for this. It is quite meaningful to us. Please, take a relic of power from the treasury." So, this is an interesting little thing. Let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. So, you go and you get this thing, which is super ancient. They don't recognize it. It's similar to what they have, but he's not sure. Like, is this a totally different sect of the brokers? Is this a completely different people than what we know? Or is this us that we just don't even remember because it's so old? Just an interesting insight into the idea that perhaps there are different sects of brokers outside of just the cartels, or maybe there is like a forgotten ancient history of the brokers which they don't remember. Now, I want to kind of toy with just a little idea regarding that. It'd be kind of cool if the brokers, maybe way, way, way back, maybe they used to serve the jailer and they were transformed or turned into another path that I'm just bullshitting. But on the note of the jailer, on the note of the Maw, there's a very important broker that we need to talk about. And of course, that's Venari. Now, Venari is stationed in the Maw. She came into the Maw with a group of brokers, and slowly, one by one, Venari recognizes that, everyone's being picked off. And she realizes that there's more safety in being alone than there is in a group. Now, to me, this implies that Venari could have betrayed the other people that came in with her, because why not? You start to realize that you're going to be safer by yourself, so why wait for the others to get picked off? Why not just do the job for the Maw? Why not just trap them or abandon them or turn them over or kill them yourself? Like, Venari's very sketchy, and the brokers which show an interest in Venari that question us after they have a suspicion that we have come in contact with her, they basically tell us, like, you need to be real careful about who you trust, especially in the Maw. And it's like, okay, that's fair, but like, why should I trust you? Who the fuck are you? Like, I don't know anything about you or where you came from. Like, why should I be trusting you? So it's kind of a, two-faced coin in that regard. But regardless, in the Maw, you have Venari, who seemingly is kind of working toward defeating the jailer because she's helping you get into Torghast and ascend these levels and gives you power-ups that help you within the Maw and within Torghast. So, it seems like she's on your side. And again, with Venari, I'm not like exalted or whatever it is, like elated or whatever the final thing is, right? I don't farm Maw rep because I like myself. So I'm not like Max. I don't know the whole story with Venari. So with what I've been able to find out is basically she sends you on these tasks that are supposed to teach you lessons about the Maw. And it's also supposed to gain, you're gaining trust with her. Now, I don't know why Venari feels the need to like have to put you through all these tasks to like gain trust with her because you're a mortal in there. And I don't know if she just has a general distaste or like distrust for mortals or distrust for everybody in general, but you have to gain Venari's trust. An interesting thing I want to point out about Venari is that she doesn't seem to have her mind affected the same way that mortals do while they spend time in the Maw. So that's important as well. Enough about Venari, though. Let's talk about some of the major quotes that I've taken screenshots of from either quests or quotes that I've found in Oribos. So we're gonna pull up some of those, take a look at some of those now. So one of the first ones I have titled Archaeology. So this is talking to researcher Adaluk. Adaluk. I don't know. Is it out of luck? Is that what it's? Researcher out of luck? That'd be funny. Good one, Blizzard. Archaeology. What is that? He listens as you explain the archaeological process and reasoning. Fascinating, but I do not believe we have anything like that here. You mortals may lose secrets in time, but things work differently here. However, if things change, I'll be certain to let you know. So these guys may just come from another realm in the Shadowlands because they don't have any type of archaeological process or reasoning. They don't have anything like that here. So mortals lose secrets to time because we're on mortal worlds where time is literally like we're losing secrets to time. But things don't work like that in the Shadowlands. So that's just an interesting thing. They don't really have that type of thing. The next one is I have titled as Artisans to Please Us. Ah, yes. We're being pretty heavily manipulated by these guys. So listen to what he says. Hopefully anything you may need as an artisan is what I have. So you ask, what do you have for wares? We brokers travel the universe and learn from the masters of every reality we can find. This allows us to cater our offerings to your needs. Our members have begun to master the various professions that your kind find worth in. Here, you will find them willing to aid you in your development as an artisan. We are sourcing new recipes as we speak. Please browse at your leisure. You won't be disappointed. So, two things that scare the fuck out of me here. We're kind of being, this isn't the right word, but we're kind of being like groomed by these guys. We're kind of being like manipulated because they're basically custom tailoring, no pun intended, everything that they're doing to please us. They're doing anything they can to get us on their side. And you're going to learn why as I read more of these quotes. They have traveled to every reality that they can possibly find to find offerings to cater to us. And in the short time, I'm going to call it, that we have been in contact with these guys, they're already mastering professions that have taken who knows how long for our kind to become masters at. So these guys learn very quickly. They adapt very quickly, which makes them a huge threat. Because if they can learn and adapt far more quickly than we can, if they can become, in a very short span of time, masters in the things that we're already masters in, that's going to be a big problem. Because as soon as they turn on us, they know everything that we know. They've learned everything that we've learned. And who knows what they're going to be able to do with that. In addition to all the things that they know that we don't know. Think about that. They keep learning and gleaning information from us. Their bank of knowledge is going to be significantly larger than ours is by the time that conflict finally arises. Let's move on. So, brokers' questions. So I'm here. I'm talking to Caretaker Kavash, which is one of the attendants in Oribos. He's one of like the Oribos drones thing. Please excuse me, mortal. We are busy observing the flow of souls. And I say, you're responsible for dealing with the brokers? And he says, I am the one whom the purpose has dictated should do so. Yes. Like you, the brokers are visitors to Oribos. They are just a little more demanding of our time. That didn't sound like you actually think it is an honor. He says, you misunderstand. The purpose is our way. Who am I to doubt it? So yes, I am the one tasked with answering the brokers' incessant questions. It is just that their questions are, on occasion, quite tiresome. So they're learning even more from these guys, constantly asking them, constantly inquiring. Let's learn a little bit more. We're going to go through all these ones, and then we'll go through the quotes that come out of chat. Collecting creatures. Keeper Tahilt, which is one of the guys that's here in Oribos, says, welcome, Mallwalker. Not everything you see is for sale. We also collect. Such curious creatures we have found in your realm. I'm enjoying expanding my collection. So now these guys are starting to fuck with our realm, apparently, because they have things that are like mechanome creations, like a little robot parrot. They have things that they should not have their hands on, but they're collecting and they're studying and they're not selling, but they're just archiving. So here's another one. Emissary Basilk. This is here it says, Mallwalker, how may I be of service to one of your kind? I trust my kin have found ways to make your stay here more comfortable. Like you, this is our temporary home. It seems our own purposes intersect here. And I say, your kind are guests here? And he says, my people, like you, are visitors to this ancient engine. Of course, we have been here a span longer, thus our relationship with the attendants runs deeper. We would be happy to assist as liaisons if it would help aid your cause. So, yeah. We'll be liaisons between you and the attendants, but we know far more about the attendants, thus our relationship is deeper, which means that we're always going to have the upper hand on you when it comes to dealing with the attendants. Holy fuck, I don't like the brokers. This just gets worse and worse the more that I read. My people, so I ask, are you guests? And he says, we're visitors. So I think there's a little bit of a distinction to be made there. Guests are typically invited for a stay. Visitors typically show up and maybe are accepted. And this happens to be the case that they're allowed to hang around, though they've been here much, much longer. Let's move on to the next one. The barber cracks me up, dude. I titled this Infomercial Barber. Welcome, friend, to the barber shop. Come for a cut, a coloring, something else perhaps? We can groom facial hair, perform piercings, reshape tusks and horns, and even modify undead features. Have a seat and we'll get right to work. You're only a few coins away from a new, more attractive you. His name is literally Groomer. Like, I know that he's literally grooming us, but like, it's just funny. Ta Visage. And I love the visage or visage, however you'd like to pronounce that, because your visage is like your appearance, the representation of an appearance. Here's another one. This is where things get a little spooky. Ta visage is French for your face. Good to know. Good to know. Observing teamwork. It's truly fascinating how conflict drives your kind, mortal. Members of my cartel have a keen interest in observing your combat prowess in action. I'm told that some of your most impressive martial demonstrations involve combat between predetermined teams. My people are unfamiliar with such contests. Would you be willing to offer a demonstration? So he's identifying conflict driving our kind, making us stronger, pushing us forward, which is something that I've always liked about the Warcraft story and something that I've always felt the Burning Legion may have been doing intentionally, kind of driving us forward, and maybe even the old gods driving us forward, making us stronger. But they're trying to learn how we fight so that they can take that information and use it to their own ends. Observing war. Your appetite for conflict is a subject of much discussion here in Oribos, mortal. Members of my cartel have a keen interest in observing your combat prowess. Though I understand a great war recently concluded on your world, I am told large-scale conflicts continue to play out in certain locations. Any chance you could arrange a demonstration? They are so sketchy, dude. Here's another one. Had this one, trust not easily gained. Sinfall tactician. Sinfall is gaining more respect than Denathrius could have ever hoped to earn. It is all thanks to your efforts, Pyromancer. Zosorg has once again requested your presence in Oribos. Go at once. The favor of Cartel Zo is not something we want to squander. A broker clan's trust is not one effortlessly gained. Perhaps they have more rewards to bestow upon you. So earning the trust of these guys is apparently not effortlessly gained. But if they're just manipulating us the entire time to get us into trusting them, why do they need to trust us? Like, they're just going to give us what's going to benefit them transactionally. This is interesting. So this idea that because we're being successful, that we need to gain their trust and that it's something that, is not easily done. It just seems, I guess, a little odd to me. I'm pretty sure, and Natalia here in the chat is also mentioning, the Ethereals were watching and observing our fighting tactics in BFA. So here's where it gets a little weird. So now we're going to start to talk to Opulence Bahar. Welcome. What do you seek from the brokers? We are ever at your service. Are you in charge here? In charge? No, I wouldn't say that I'm in charge exactly. I am but one of many. But you could say that my voice carries a certain weight. Influence is often more meaningful than power, don't you think? So let us settle on influential. I am influential. Okay, so there's a couple things here. He could be choosing to not identify himself as being in charge because it makes him a target, which I think is very likely. You know, out in the battlefield, not everybody exactly wears their stars and ribbons because it makes them a fucking target. Now, it also could be taken in the effect of, my voice carries a certain weight. Okay, is that in a literal sense? Like, is what you say actually more of like a rule of law rather than a suggestion or a request or even an order? It's more like a go do this. And the subservient goes, okay. And that's literally just how it works. So he says more so, no, I'm influential. So he says, so what exactly do you influence? And he says, well, it is safe to say that I influence my own cartel. I am one of the elders of the Ba cartel. We value the accumulation of information and knowledge. The application of such knowledge has the side effect of allowing us to accumulate influence and wealth. We brokers value success, and we are not afraid to display the results of our endeavors. Hence the title my peers honor me with. So I influence my beloved cartel in order that they may share in my success. I seek only to ensure that we continue to prosper. So again, doesn't give a fuck about us. Self-satisfying, self-gaining, looking after themselves only, zero fucks given. That's what they're about. Now let's get into some of these. Let's see what the brokers have to say about the Eternal Ones. And some of this dialogue gets a little mixed up with things that the attendants say. So allow me to read this to you. Hopefully it'll make more sense. So Emissary Basolo says, Opulence, I have heard tales that long ago the Eternal Ones gathered in the Arbiter's chamber. Opulence Bahar says, pay no mind to such stories. There is no profit to be found in them. The emissary says, but are they not the most powerful beings in the Shadowlands? You always say there is profit in power. The Opulence says, when power is coupled with desire, yes. But beings like the Archon and the Winter Queen want only souls. In that, we cannot give them. Yet. So, these guys definitely are interested. So, even over this long period of time that they've been there, they want souls. Now, I wonder if there's a distinction to be made between souls and the anima from the souls, or if they just want souls because souls are the source of anima. Regardless, Opulence Bahar clearly has a plan to get them souls. And what is going to come of that when that does happen, I don't know. Maybe this is in reference to us going out and stopping what the jailer's doing, thus giving them more souls, but it doesn't make a difference because the souls are still continuing into the Maw. So there is profit and power so long as desire also exists. How about the brokers on the purpose? Emissary Basalo says, Opulence, this arbiter that the attendant serves so fervently, have you ever seen her carry out her supposed purpose? Opulence says, they allow no witness to that process, and they would probably banish us from Oribos for even asking. That's interesting. We were allowed to go up and see the arbiter very quickly. So although we're told that their relationship runs far deeper, perhaps they are still not allowed to go anywhere near the arbiter, at least witness the purpose, because we haven't exactly witnessed. I mean, we did witness the purpose, like it was shown to us in a vision. So we did get to see what was going on. Brokers the operation. Okay, here we go. A discreet facilitator, that's the title of this guy, says, Opulence, I must report that some of the caretakers are growing agitated about our activity. Emissary Basolo says we must take appropriate actions to placate them. Nothing can be allowed to interfere with the operation. Opulence says, when I profit, we all profit, each according to their station. The operation. Talk about words that trigger a red flag. There should be a little alarm going off in your head when you read nothing can be allowed to interfere with the operation. What? These guys are part of a cartel. They have facilitators. They have information traders. They're brokers. Are they running a cocaine ring? What's happening? Are these like the Cuban fucking cocaine dealers of the Shadowlands? Like, what is going on? What is the operation? What are they doing here? How are we supposed to trust people who say things like that? And we're not supposed to be aware of it. Like, our character and those that are present in Orbos are supposed to not be aware of it, but we're being shown this because it's important. Like, is this like Grand Theft Brokers? Like, what is going on, dude? This is crazy. The operation, what the fuck? Okay, here's another one, disclosing margins. Discreet facilitator says, I must report that the demands of the mortals are pushing the limits of our portal capacity. Basolo, we must expand the reach of our networks. Basolo says, I shall speak to Tassaran. His cartel may be able to assist. The Opulence says, be discreet. No need to disclose our margins. Am I clear? As you will it, Opulence. So, disclosing margins. If he's going to go to a member of another cartel, Tassaran, I think that what the Opulence here is suggesting is like, don't let them know how much we're actually gaining, because then they will demand more. There's no need to disclose our margins because it's none of their business, and because they might request more of us in order to support this need that we have if they know how much we're actually making. They're so sketchy. They're so smart. Okay, here's another one. Discreet portal. Trader Batelk. Is your associate still maintaining the portal? Tamari says, of course. It's the most reliable network among all the cartels. Very discreet. Trader Bagor says, just make sure it remains active. We may need it on short notice. Tamari says, you should not doubt us. Couple things here. We may need it on short notice, meaning we might need to get the fuck out of here quickly if things go wrong. So I don't know what the brokers are planning or what could potentially arise from this operation that they have going on, but it looks like we might need it. I'm assuming that the kind of prefix to their name, Ba or Ta, could have something to do with which cartel they're in, because I think there is Cartel Ba, Cartel Ta, Cartel Zo, if I'm not mistaken. So this could be two different cartel members working with one another. But this guy goes and basically is working with them. So let me make sure that's not the same guy. Okay, that's Basala. Okay. All right, mortals and consuming and profit. So here's another one. Opulence Bahar says, how do our operations go in the ring above? The facilitator says, all goes well, Opulence. The mortals continue to consume. Opulence Bahar says, fortunate for us that they possess such voracious appetites. Basalo says, and that you are so shrewd as to turn their desires into our profits. So, once again, what I said at the start, where they're doing all of these things basically just to, like, get out of us profit. They don't actually have an interest in helping us unless it benefits them. These guys can turn on us any moment that they could possibly want to. Yeah, it's Cartel A, Cartel Ba, Cartel So, Cartel Ta, Cartel Ve, Cartel Zai, Cartel Zo. Maybe, yeah, that could be. These guys are scary. I have two left that we're going to talk about. The last one is the most important one. The Portal Network. Tamari says, reporting in Opulence, the attendants are asking questions about the Portal Network, but nothing I can't handle. Opulence Bahar says, do not underestimate them. I know you are an astute broker, but keep your guard up. Basalo says, indeed, the caretakers are also astute, but I trust you, Tamari. Keep your associates on track. Tamari says, I will do my best. For the cartel, of course. Okay, so, yeah. They are basically continuing to hide things from the caretakers and the attendants. So there's these guys, if it hasn't been illustrated yet that they're not trustworthy, they're not trustworthy. Here's the last one, and arguably one of the most important ones. Opulence Bahar says, this is an interesting time, Basolo. We should strive to find the cause of this chaos. Such knowledge may prove useful. Emissary Basolo says, Opulence, do you mean the location of the sepulchre? Silence! Do not speak of the grand design. Emissary Basolo says, 1,000 pardons, Opulence. Please forgive my enthusiasm. This is very, very important. He was going to say the sepulchre. Opulence, do you mean the location of the sepulchre? Could what he's suggesting is that could be the cause of this chaos, the knowledge that would give you the cause of the chaos. And the sepulchre has to do with something referred to as the grand design by Opulence Bahar. Emissary Bosolo says, 1,000 pardons, Opulence. Forgive my enthusiasm. So Bosolo is just enthusiastic about it. He's excited about it. He wants to know, and he wants to find whatever the sepulcher is. Here's the thing. When we talk about the grand design and the source of this chaos, which we know the source of the chaos, I think anyway, is because of the jailer's doings. When you go through all of the Maldraxxus quest lines, and you get to the end where you get to hear what the Primus has to say to you, he says in one of his many quotes, Zovaal must not reach the sepulcher. The sepulcher. Okay, well, there's a place in Maldraxxus known as the Sepulcher of Knowledge. So again, such knowledge may prove useful. Opulence, do you mean the location of the sepulcher? Because there is actually a broker there at the Sepulcher of Knowledge, which is a tower, that tasks you with unlocking the tower, going in there and accumulating and taking literally all of the most valuable tactical war knowledge ever compiled of all of the most masterful minds of the warlords in Maldraxxus. And you get all of it and you give it to him and then he leaves. So that could be what they're talking about, because it is the Sepulcher of Knowledge, the location of the sepulcher, speaking of the grand design and then being enthusiastic. Yes, it's called the Sepulcher of Knowledge. I'm gonna throw another idea out there. The Primus says right after that, he says the Arbiter is the final key. If she falls, it's over. Like, if the Arbiter is done, then that's it. That's fucked. So it almost suggests to me, he could be from Cartel Taya. The guy's name is Ta Iran, the guy who tasks you to do that. It could be that the sepulcher that the Primus is referring to has to do with the Arbiter. And I will just throw this out there. There is a lower level of Oribos that's all darkened, and we have never been there. We don't know what's in there. But in the concept art for Oribos, you guys may be able to recall, there was a picture where, let me see if I can find this. Oribos concept art. There was a picture, yeah, this one right here, where the wall is basically, oh, come on, where'd it go? The wall is basically lined with gravestones. That's what those are. That's what that is. Now, what is a sepulcher? A sepulcher, a small room or monument cut in rock or built of stone in which a dead person is laid or buried. So it's a burial site. A room or a monument cut in stone. Now, I don't know. I mean, they referred to Oribos as like an engine, right? They refer to it as this central hub, right? But like, what I'm starting to wonder is because there doesn't seem to be anyone dead or laid to rest in the Sepulcher of Knowledge, unless the knowledge was metaphorically laid to rest, right? Like, that's one way to look at it, I suppose, right? Because it is referred to as a sepulcher. That's what it is. But the tie into the Arbiter is really what gets me. His follow-up by saying that he can't reach the sepulcher, the Arbiter is the final key. It could be that Oribos is in whole or in part a sepulcher. There could be something ancient, maybe above the jailer, maybe above the Arbiter, maybe above all of these. Maybe there's a first one laid to rest within Oribos somewhere. Maybe the Arbiter is literally the key to it. And if whatever it is unleashed, then maybe all hell breaks loose. No pun intended. I feel like I've said that a couple times during this video. I just want to play with the idea that maybe this sepulcher that they're referring to goes beyond the Sepulcher of Knowledge and maybe has something to do specifically with Oribos, because he refers to a grand design. And he also refers to an operation that's happening right in Oribos. So what are they doing? What are they up to? Great question. Are they to be trusted? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Will we probably end up fighting these guys? Yes, I think so. I think the cartels probably end up turning against us, and it could be next patch. It could be late game patches where we journey to where those cartels come from. Maybe they have a realm of origin. Maybe we go there and we find out, like, what all have you been involved with? What are you doing? What's going on exactly? But I feel like considering they're so prevalent in Oribos, that's probably a late game scenario if that were to happen. I don't know when that would happen, but do I think something is going to happen? Yes. Absolutely. And it's probably not going to bode very well for us. So with that being said, that's what I have to say about the brokers. That's what I have to say about this. It's been 45 minutes almost. Can you guys believe that? We come back with a 45-minute video. That's nuts. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit the like button. Why wouldn't you? It's free. It's easy. It makes me feel good. Okay, that's true. It helps the video get shared around more. Also true. And if you made it to 45 minutes, of course you like the video, so you like the video. Guys, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? That's also free. It's fast. It's easy. There's no negatives. Subscribe, you guys. We've lost about 400 subs in the time that I've been gone. Let's make that back, please. That'd be cool. A huge thank you to my patrons. You guys are amazing. I literally can't thank you enough for sticking around, giving me your continued support. You guys are wonderful. I have some stuff coming for you, so just hold out a little bit longer. With that being said, you guys, again, I appreciate you so much for watching this video. Stay awesome, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace!